All right. Welcome to TechTime. This is going to be creating social media images in Photoshop and kind of take it from the beginning, some of the rules of thumb that have been around for a long time, 72 DPI and stuff, and I'll bring it up until a couple of hands-on experiments of how you could maybe get better images for social media. Kevin knows how to do it in like, what's that, Lib blog or something? And just push the dimensions to whatever you want.
Try to.
I'll tell you how to do that a little bit better. Kind of an overview of optimizing JPEGs and GIFs. Those are kind of two of the main file types that are used on the web. They also use for PowerPoint. Most any time on the screen, our digital signage runs JPEGs and GIFs too. Also another one, pings, PNG. It's on the handout. It's a little bit newer, not supported in as many places, but you can kind of see why that one's better. Optimizing your images has lots of benefits. One of the big ones is the speed of loading and also the quality of the images, so your images don't look blurry and maybe the colors look kind of closer to what they're supposed to be. Actually, about research of this, one thing I didn't really know is I guess you kind of get a search engine optimization too. So Google, I guess, likes optimized images as well. So like, oh, well, if that's an added benefit, I'll put that on my sheet too. Never really knew that, but I knew that's loading the speed and having them look good. It's kind of a prime goal a lot of times. One of the rules that's been around kind of quite a while is this 72 DPI. And in the beginning, maybe like 20 years ago, I think I wrote on there, it was probably true. Most monitors were 72 dots. That's like dots per inch. And it was 72 dots made an inch. And that really came over from print designers who, when they do magazine layouts or newspaper layouts, they knew how big the book was or the piece of paper was going to be. And they wanted to know how many dots would go across the resolution. Like, would it be 300, 150, or 72? Now that there's so many more mobile devices, so many more screens have like retina displays, like this display that I'm working on right now, I think is up around almost 150 like DPI. But the monitor or the projector that you're seeing it on is still only 72. So you're just getting kind of a lot of stuff mixed together. Why it's still somewhat applicable, and you'll still see people using 72, I still use 72, almost just out of habit, is it will make your, missing an end, not down, down, it's down. Yeah, typos on the big screen.
Wow.
It makes for smaller file sizes that look pretty good on most screens. You will notice sometimes, like if you go to like Apple's website or Adobe's website themselves, sometimes the pictures just look a little bit better, and you're kind of like, how come these guys are so great? How come their images are so good? A lot of times they are pushing, because I was doing some screen grabs from Adobe's site to see, I was going to use them as examples, and they push the 72 up really, really high. Almost every image on their site is like 1,000 pixels wide, even if they're going to use it down at like 3. I don't know how they get away with the speed, because you would think they'd almost be getting to a speed problem where the images would load. They must have fast servers and they're optimized in other ways. But that's one reason that some of those other fancier places have like shinier looking pictures that just look a little bit brighter, a little bit crisper, especially when you see it on a monitor that is way more than 72 DPI. Even like your iPhones, I think are Retina resolution. I think Retina is double, so it's like 142. So that's why sometimes a website will look like, yeah, those pictures are okay, and another one you'll be like, wow, those pictures look really nice. That could be a resolution issue. But the main thing you're going for is a smaller file size. Like I said, I still do 72 because a lot of times it's going to be projector. The digital signage is 72 DPI. Most places are 72 DPI. After doing this research, though, I may start pushing that up a little bit. You might say, well, how the heck do I know what my file size is? Well, we'll go into Photoshop and I'll kind of pull up an image. Well, much like I was talking before, though, how you could take an image from another site. I'm not going to go to Adobe because they don't have really good references. But like maybe we'll go to like musc.edu or go to the library. I like those guys. I like this site. Say you wanted to make one of a post for the therapy dogs. You're like, I got to make an image that big, but I don't know how big it is. I don't know anything about it. one of the good things you could do in Photoshop, copy and paste, but this is for legitimate reasons. You could right-click on it and copy the image. When you go into Photoshop, you go like File, New. The first dialog box that comes up says, do you want to use the file size that was on your clipboard? Because you just hit copy. So right now you know that the file size is 350 pixels by 180 pixels wide, and it's 72 like DPI or pixels per inch. So you're like, okay, I'll make it that size. And you hit create. And it starts a new document that's exactly the size you want. So you're like, hey. And you can do that for almost any social media account. Like if you're in Facebook and you see a picture, you're like, what size is that picture? And you're like, well, let's copy it and let's bring it to Photoshop and make a new document, and it will be that size. It's good for like those header banners at the top, or Instagram photos, or the icons. Like, I don't know if you make icons for a lot of your sites. Some people change their icons a lot, but you could always right-click on it and bring it in. So now it's kind of like, I know that if I make a document that's this size, it'll be exactly the right size for the front page of the library website. So that's kind of nice. And I'll just kind of grab something and put in there. Maybe I'll get a tab. I'll get some more puppies. We'll go on a puppy on the beach. Who doesn't want a puppy on the beach? All right, here. We'll take like this little guy. Copy him. I'll go back in Photoshop, and I don't even care what that image was, because now I'll paste it in here, Control V. And I know that it's going to be the right size. Actually, I'll stretch it out just a tiny bit. So edit, transform. Should do free transform. Hold down Shift and Option, it'll kind of grow from the center. And there we go. Now I can just save it just like that, and it would be the right size for that post. Let's say we wanted to make it smaller, because you really don't want to make pictures bigger. But if you want to make it smaller, or you wanted to see, say you had a picture, and you didn't know what size it was, and you wanted to make sure it was okay, you kind of go to Image, Image Size. And then here, kind of telling us what we already knew. It's 350 wide, 180, 72. But another thing to watch is this number, the actual image size in K, because that's what's really going to affect how fast your image downloads, how much Google likes it for, SEO, search engine optimization, all that type of stuff. So that's, image up at the top, and then image size. And if you see a number that's like not in Ks, if it goes up to like Ms, megs, that's way too big for the internet. Usually right around, they say like 100K. And this is 184. So it's not bad, but if it's like under 500, you're probably fine. So that's kind of all about image sizes. Another thing you're going to have when you're making it for the web, you'll be like, okay, well now I got a Photoshop file. Now I got to make a file that's going to be able to go on the web. You'll be like, how do I do that? Well, got File. I wish they blocked this out. This will have to be a little tricky. I should have put it on the sheet. Although they are going to take it away because it's legacy. There used to be a thing called Save for Web. And it had a lot of really nice features in there. And one of the nicest features is you could compare what a JPEG, what a GIF, and what a PNG look like compared to each other all together. Kind of put all four of them in like a little egg crate thing. And I believe, when you're on nothing, it was Command, Alt, Shift, S. And that's like 4 keys all at the same time. I'm just glad it's still there because it's not even in the menu anymore. But you hit that, and you get Save for Web.
What is it one more time?
It's kind of funny, my hand does it. Yeah, Command, Alt, Shift, and S.
You mean
Command.
option?
Or Command or Alt or whatever, yeah.
No,
Hold
no,
on now.
alt is option, I think.
Well, they're the same.
It depends on which keyboard you
Right.
have.
If you have
Some
one-
keyboards will say option, some keyboards will say alt.
Okay. This darn one says Alt. That's the only keyboard I know. You mean there's other keyboards?
Yes.
That's why I was looking at it too, because actually I don't know. It's Command, Option, or Alt, Shift and S. Yeah. It's really weird, but
This does what again?
bring up the four.
This brings up this old dialog box called Save for When, which they do say they're getting rid of. It used to say Legacy at the top, and like it was going to go away. And up at the top, well, sometimes you may only get it, and it may be at the original tab. These tabs up here, original. It probably will open to this one first. Optimized, 2 up or 4 up. I've always left it at 4 up, and it always does it. But what you're going to see here is going to tell you the file type that it is, and also its size. So see, it's like 15K. That's nothing. But what's nice is when the one that's selected, it'll let you change its parameters here, like its quality and its file type. So I already know because this is a photograph. It's probably going to be best at JPEG because I got a little list here that says kind of what they're best for. And it's like logos and graphics are really good for GIFs, things that have very flat, solid colors. Then you want really crisp edges. That's usually where you're going to use GIFs. And of course, they do animated GIFs too. So if you do some memes or something, or somebody like dancing, then you want GIFs. But mostly it's graphics are GIFs, photographs are JPEGs. Pings are good too, but a lot of times you won't get good support on the ping files. So I only kind of throw them in there because people may hear about them, but I don't use them too often unless I know for a fact where they're going. And I want that little extra bit of quality because it will do better pictures. Kind of what I was saying before. Like I could change this to a GIF, and it kind of tells me. You can even tell that it's using solid colors to make the picture. But it kind of changed to a GIF, and it went to 41K. So 1, you're getting less quality, and 2, you're getting bigger file size. Get this one, like really low quality like 18. I don't even know if you can tell if that's blurry. I'll take it down even further. And I can tell that's really blurry. It's funny, on the monitor you can't really tell. This is really bad. And that's the other interesting thing about JPEGs is it's got this little quality slider. So you can kind of, as you go up, obviously the file size is getting bigger. But you're also getting clarity. And when you're on a better monitor, you kind of see what that little slider is doing for you. And then down here where you can't see, you hit save. And I think it'll ask you like where you want it to go. I think it's a good too, it always remembers the last place, which is like a box thing. And it's already going to be a JPEG. And this is just Finder, so it's going to go wherever you want on your desktop or whatnot. Give it like dog beach. And save. And then that's good. That image is good to load. You know, it's been optimized to a good file size. A lot of times, like when you were talking about the blog where you like to have your images like maybe 150 by 150, this is where you could do that first so that you're not doing it at in the blog tool, which kind of might make the picture look a little funny. Let's see, so copy and pasted from a place. Another thing to do, let's see if we got some time. Now we're getting into more of the extra things. Kind of started basic, kind of moved to a little more advanced. Like, I don't even know if puppies have Twitter. Actually, I probably shouldn't do that. I'll do Adobe. Sometimes you don't want to go on Twitter if you don't know what you're going to find. I was going to look for puppies on Twitter.
Come on, let's be
You
adventurous.
want to see what puppies on Twitter gets you? It can't be that bad, right? The Daily Puppy.
I hope not.
Oh, okay. Let's say you wanted to make this big background graphic, and you're like, oh man, I don't know what size that is or anything. And you also know that it's going to have like this thing pop over it, and the login thing's going to pop over it. So you're like, this is going to be a real funny picture. Well, you can do a screenshot. You know how to do screenshots. It's like Command Shift and 4. Yeah, Command Shift 4. Kind of get those little crosshairs. We're just going to take like the whole. A lot of times I'll just take like everything. So there's on the screenshot. Go back into Photoshop, open it. Forget where my screenshots go. There they go. And what's good here is up here in the rulers. You got like Command R. I think by default the rulers are off. So it would look like this. I think it's in View. It's also Command R. But rulers. And the reason you want the rulers is then from the rulers you click on them. You could drag down these little guides. And you can kind of say, you know, this is going to be the top, it's going to be the bottom. And I was going to cut out a little section so you know that kind of where the little icon shows up so you don't end up blocking the same part. I might even put a line here so you know where the login goes. You can do something like cropping that. So you know that's kind of the picture. So now if you could paste your own picture in there, you know how not to stay away from this area. You know to kind of not go past that line. And we also know it's going to be very long and narrow. I'll give you like a real expert pro tip on this one. See if we can find. Go back to puppies on the beach or something. Like let's say we wanted to use this picture. Copy the image again. Bring it in here, paste it on there. So it's in its own layer. It's been pasted on. You're like, oh man, it doesn't fit. It doesn't fit. And you don't want to make it any bigger because you want to make sure you have most of the puppy there. Actually, I want to see his feet too. Unfortunately, made the puppy smaller. This is actually a very cool tool that Photoshop has. Because what you could do if you want to fill it was you could stretch it, but then you get this really weird fat puppy. Yeah, you don't want that. They have this very cool new tool. It's edit this content aware scaling. And it's like magic. It uses like some facial recognition and it's going to be able to know that that's a dog. And it's not going to stretch him, but it's going to stretch the background. So I'll hit that. And it looks pretty much the same as we had before. But now, when I pull the sides, the dog itself doesn't get fat.
Ah.
And what I found about this too is if you pull it too much, you'll notice the dog does get a little fat.
His tail's getting
Yeah.
longer.
So you kind of don't do that, but then you hit enter, but you can do it again. And you can do this like pretty much endlessly. It does start to get a little wonky, but we can slowly get there. And actually what I'd probably do now is use the marquee tool and just grab like over here. And now because now when I hit content aware, it's only going to affect this part of the picture. So now I'll hit content aware scaling again. Deselect. And I'll do the same thing with the marquee. I'll get on this side. All right. And that's how you get those magic, like live photos that like all social media needs. And you kind of see like your icon will show up here, so that'll be okay. And you know when the login thing pops up, it'll be over here, so nothing's going to be affected. And so, actually, I do notice something weird about this photo though. It's just it didn't realize his shadow was not supposed to be big, so he's got this very long shadow now. But yeah. And more time you can fix that. Push the shadow a little back. But that's a cool feature if you've got a picture that just doesn't fit, or you know it's portrait and you need it to be landscape. And much like a lot of social media now, they all have those long, wide headers. And those pictures that fit that format are few and far between, really. All right. Well, any questions or comments or any fun things to add? Or things you'd like to hear about making better social media pictures? Where you might use them besides the blog? All right. Well, thank you all. Enjoy.